I either go with the movies or I go with television. But over here, yeah, it's a truckload of money, you know, and I don't have to do anything anymore. Over here, though, it's a whole new Boondock world I can open up to the fan base and give them a lot more bang for their buck every season, right? And what helped me make the decision was one of the very first lessons I learned in the movie business, which is if you are lucky enough to have a fan base, you do what they want 100% of the time or you're fucked. And what my fan base wants are those two boys in pea coats killing bad guys.
Troy Duffy, director of Boondock Saints 1 and 2. Part of the, that documentary Overnight. I know you got your feelings and you'll talk about them. And
my favorite subject. I can't wait.
I know. I was just, but that was a litmus test for me with my friends. Because if you watch that documentary and didn't come out, I kind of like that guy. Everybody's like, that's the way I came out of it.
I like this guy.
What the fuck is Harvey doing? I mean, what is he really doing? Who is he fighting for? Who is he talking to in the industry right now? If I'm a fucking priority project over at Miramax, and he's ignoring me, what the fuck is he doing?
But one way or the other, this ship is drifting away.
I don't think it's moving away from the shore. I think they're playing hard ball.
He sticks to his guns. He's no bullshit. Actually, the best thing about that movie isn't the movie, it's the poster. I'm sharing it now if you would.
Oh, yeah.
The poster is actually badass.
Yeah. I fucking love that.
I love it.
They also did a good job, as you said, and you'll talk about it, skirting like actual facts and stuff, but for sensationalism, but that's what documentaries do nowadays, right? But I came out of it going, I fucking like this dude even more. So,
dude, I had a buddy that was like, oh my God, it's the best thing. Because when it first happened, I was like, this is horrible, right?
Yeah, of course.
And my buddy was like, no, you kidding me? You're infamous. It's going to be great. Like any press is good press. And it just like, it took a while for, I think now, maybe when I do my podcast and talk on other podcasts, that, maybe Duffy's getting his revenge at long last, but it was like, we can talk about it if you want, because the thing that very few people get is that, now I think me and Gore were talking about this, God is the director of documentaries, and there's such big questions that weren't answered, like why did Harvey kick me out of Miramax?
I'd love to know.
You're supposed to know. You watched the damn documentary.
You're not an underage intern.
Here's what happened, and it's pretty much just like the story of dudes, and all the dumb shit we do. These two guys, Mark and Tony, they were our friends. They hung at the bar. We saw them every night before anything happened, and one of them wanted to be a director, and one of them wanted to be a producer, right? And then this whole thing hit. We're doing, movies and music at the same time. And they come up with this idea to do this documentary on us, right? And somehow, some way, without actually saying it, they managed to convince their audience that it was somehow my idea. And then I made my two, beleaguered friends follow me around with cameras for years. This was their idea. They came to me and pitched it, and we had the whole entourage of guys, the band, the other producers, and I had them pitch it to them, and then we all voted, and we said yeah, and they were like, what they wanted to do was like this gritty, down-to-earth documentary about, they're like, all these kids want to get into music and film, and you're doing it both at the same time, but I mean, it's got to be real and stuff. It could be taught in film schools, and but don't worry, we're your friends. We'd never fuck you.
Famous last words.
Oh yeah, they must have said that 100 times during the process. But it's almost like this: if like you go out and have a red letter fucking evening, you drinking your ass off with your boys, and then the next day in the car, the guy's like, "Oh my God, you were so funny last night. Don't worry, I got it all on film," and you don't even remember what the hell you said, right?
Yeah.
So all the guys started going, this is getting out of control, and then we were giving them a lot of money. There were like producers donated and stuff like that. And it was almost like, if you invite your boys over to build a new porch, You know, everybody's good during the morning coffee, but as soon as you all start working together, you're having arguments on what kind of fasteners to use, what materials, whether we need to pour a foundation. Everybody's at each other's throats. So throughout that, say, 3-4 year period where they were filming, these were the highs and lows of I think a lot of our lives in that little crew, you know, and a lot of good stuff happened and a lot of bad stuff happened. And so by the time it was over, there was a pretty sour relationship, and those guys like disappeared with their footage, and all the rest of us were like, whew, right? But what really happened was what they did was this, you know, Duffy acts bad, something bad happens, he acts worse. Duffy acts bad, something bad happens, he acts worse. So when I finally saw it, because I didn't see it on the advice of Billy Connolly, he was like, dear boy, don't watch it. That way when reporters ask you, you know, you can tell them to fuck off. And, you know, and that's what I did. But then like 3 years after it was released, I was bored shitless one night, and there it was. I was like, click, you know, and I watched it, and I realized what they did. They hid the truth so perfectly well, gave so little context that it was obvious. It was just like, make them look like a dick. And it made me understand how effectively you can screw somebody in an editing room, right? You can make them look like Satan. So that was not the norm of behavior back then. It must be said, though, that the whole thing was my fault. I take credit for everything. The whole thing was my fault. A man's choices, the choices he makes, whatever happens is his fault. So should have managed that situation a lot better, and I didn't. We were just kind of pushing all these boulders up the hill, trying to do music and film at the same time, and this documentary. And I just figured it'll all work out in the wash. We're all friends. Everything will be fine. You know, don't worry. They're our friends. They would never fuck us.
Well, first lesson we learn about Hollywood and any creative endeavor out there, right? I imagine, I mean, I wish they had documentary cameras around James Cameron during his shoots. Mr. Feminist now.
To be fair, I want to defend assholes for a minute.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to defend them because sometimes you need to be an asshole to get things done.
Yes.
You really,
yeah.
and if you worry about what people think about you, you end up with where I'm at in, you know, you end up with fires everywhere. You know, the mayor position in LA is not an honorary position like being the grand marshal of a parade. You have to do shit. And sometimes that means being an asshole.
And not being in Ghana at a cocktail party while city burns. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, but so I will just say, I think I miss assholes. So I don't care. When I saw that doc, like Gary, I had the same reaction. I like this guy. He's an asshole because you need to be sometimes. You need, you know, being on a film set, it's intense. You got to get things done. You got to go fuck. It's like leading an army. And not only that, you can't worry about people's feelings all the time. And you know what? 18-hour days, they're going to be off-color jokes. Yeah. Get over it. If you can't handle it, walk away. So F that. And also, I want to point something out. Boondock Saints came out in 1999. That was a banner year for film. Check this out, Gary. These are studio movies that were released in 99. Fight Club, The Green Mile, Sixth Sense, Matrix, Eyes Wide Shut, Magnolia, American Beauty. Boondock Saints should
Stanley
be on
Kubrick.
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, it should.
Well, those are some good ones.
Studio movies. This doesn't even include indie movies like Boondock Saints. 1999. People have written about this. That year for film was a banner year. Look at this. They're all bangers. And we remember these movies along with your movie. Anyways, my rant there. I had to get that in.
No. I mean, thank you for that because you're right. You do have to be an asshole sometimes. But I actually believe this. If most of the people knew the real story of why I said this or got pissed off, they would have said, how did you hold back for so fucking long? You know, because I wasn't just dealing with studio. I mean, essentially the facts don't change, right? My band got a record deal with Maverick Records, movie deal with Miramax, lost them both, resurrected them both with different studios and record companies. And I did my movie and my album my way. how I got there wasn't acting like an asshole 100% of the time to all the people, all my representatives and the people I love in my life and the guys I'm doing this with. I mean, it's impossible to do that. And that seems to be the message of the film. And that, and, Harvey Weinstein's the good guy, evidently, how dare you, Duffy? That poor man, how could you do it to him?
So you were a bouncer writing this script for Boondock Saints. What kind of writing did you do before that? Was it just personal? How much have you done? None. There you go.
I was just a big reader before that. My father was a Harvard English Lit grad, and so he would make all of his kids read extracurricularly. And then we had to give we had to be able to talk about the book at the end of the month, and he would quiz us and make sure we knew everything. I read Siddhartha, The Good Earth, James Joyce, Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, all the greats when I was very, very young. And my dad made me understand what good writing was. So when I tried to do a script, I just got I had living in Hollywood, everybody is an assistant or and one of my friends just got me a script that had been made into a movie. I think it was The Bear, Robin Williams. And I just kind of looked at the format. There was no writing programs back then. I didn't even have a computer, so I'd write it on notebooks. Then I would rent a computer every weekend. And remember those 3.5-inch little stupid discs? I would just stick it in there, and I just copied the format of the script, int, bar.
Yeah.
There was no writing program. And I got it done in about 3 months. It was just like this rush of just creativity. And all I was doing was trying to write a movie that I would want to go see, because so many of them, you guys ever get that feeling like who ran into the conference room with this shitty script and went, this is the one, guys. Oh, this is going to change our lives. We're going to make millions. I mean, and it's the shittiest movie of all time. So I felt like, hey, I could probably do better. And it just kind of blew up in my face.
Nowadays, we're asking, how many people did this shitty script get by who are highly paid? And the answer is a lot. But I love that you brought up, because you brought it up with Film Threat too, is somebody asked you, hey, give me advice on as a beginning writer. And you said, read a lot of books.
Yeah. That's the key, I don't think people focus so much these days on the end result, wanting the money, wanting the deals, and they don't do the work you need to do up front. Yeah, I wasn't a writer. I was just had my head in a book and was really funny. I would read at the door, on Sloan's checking people's IDs, and people in LA were like, "Oh my God, he's reading." You read, and it was like
you and LeBron James.
Yeah.
Is it the same book each time?
I was just so blown away. I'm like, you don't read here? But yeah, reading and understanding what great writing is something that a lot of people in the business, they've actually, they've skipped that one. They've skipped that class. Joe Average can walk into a movie theater and watch a movie he's got no idea, has seen no trailers, and he can come out and tell you whether it's good or not. But the people in charge can't. They all thought Star Wars was a bomb. They thought Easy Rider was going to fail. They almost didn't do The Godfather. These are people that watched it when it was done. How the fuck do you watch AFM Top 100 movies and not know whether they're good? In fact, think they're shit, Do
we have questions for our guests? Oh, you took my question, FD Link for $1.99. Will there be a 4K Boondock Saints?
Oh, yeah. Making them both the first discs 4K?
Yeah.
I can't say yes, 1 and 2, but maybe. Like a lot of fans have been asking about that. I think that right now 3, we should probably get into this. But
yeah.
3, I would say when they make 3, they'll probably, it's kind of in their hands now, but they'll probably do a 3-disc set. This is something that's kind of, once you get to 3, they sell them all and do a 4K. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, pure speculation. I don't know. Because, we sort of have to kind of, I guess, tell this story. But I basically gave control of Boondock Saints to Thunder Road. These are the action, masters, franchise masters of Hollywood. They did John Wick and Sicario and some of my favorite action brands. So, them and sort of Norman Reedus are in control of it, and they are going to go do 3. They've got my script. They're going to find a director. They're kind of taking my script and putting the Thunder Road sauce on it now. So it's kind of all up to them. I hope they do great with it, man. We'll see. But I'm kind of out of there doing new things now,
Yeah, I heard you tell the story. So, yes, we are getting a Boondock Saints 3, but it won't be directed by Troy. Troy, so you were kind of, you were going back and forth at the time, and I saw this on Chris Gore's interview, about possibly doing a series and a movie, and you were kind of negotiating both at the same time.
Oh, dude, that's a story. All right, sit back. Sit back, because this is a good one. As I'm negotiating the deal with Thunder Road, right? And it's not exactly, when you get in negotiations, there can be some pretty bad feelings and stuff. And we won't do this. No, what? I own the rights. Fuck you. Lawyers going back and forth and back and forth. At the exact same time, a buddy of mine, I'm going to have him on my podcast, really talented, excellent producers. Like, we got to do the pitch for the Boondock Saints television series. So I'm like, my first thought is, oh, great. That way, if, Boondock can go live in this movie world on its own, and these other guys can do it, because frankly, dealing with Boondock, which I have for 25 years, can be like dealing with a cornered fucking animal. So he's like, let's pitch Universal Television on the TV, on the television, the TV series for Boondock Saints, which I had been working on for about 10 years. So we did, or I pitched it to and they were like, "Yup, we're in." So I'm negotiating this over here, thinking, "Great, these guys can go take it into the movie world, because that can live on and on." The Thunder Road wants to do 3, 4, and 5, and I can go do this brand new Boondock Saints, a television series. I mean, if you think about it, Boondock, it may be a cult classic. It may, continue to sell and sell and sell, because that's what cult classics do. But technically, the fans in 25 years have gotten less than 4 hours of entertainment. You got 2 movies, but with a TV series, I mean, that's like 12 hours, 1 season, right? So I'm all excited. And so I've got this deal going over here. This deal going over here means I can do, because I'm having nothing to do with this besides I've written the script and I'm producing, whatever the fuck that means these days. But over here, I'm heading up a writer's table in LA. I'm directing some of the episodes. I'm working with a showrunner that did huge fucking, TV series. So I'm like on top of the world. And it gets to a point where we're negotiating, where the lawyers said, we have to inform both sides that this is happening, because I'm negotiating in silence. I'm not telling any of them what's happening. It's just, by the way, it's my same law firm. And like every time they had to get on the phone with those guys, I was like, don't fucking say anything. Yeah. Lip sync ships. So when it happens, both sides, movie says you got to give up the TV deal. TV says you got to give up the movie deal. And I'm like, wait a minute, these are not in competition. The movies have already been established. The actors that play those roles, that can go on its own story forever. This is a completely new story that takes place in the present day of 2 young brothers coming over from Ireland, Connor and Murphy McManus, doing their thing. In today's world, it's a completely different thing. It's a contemporary Boondock story. Won't these 2 things fuel each other? I'm trying to convince people. But these were like, especially Universal. Universal's the oldest television studio. They're not going to break their business model for me, even though it was entirely rational, And my producer buddy told me that this one day. He was like, look, you're right. And they know you're right. And they're not going to do it anyway. You got to play ball, which is just the suckiest. So I looked at here's the worst 2 weeks of my life, because I got Sophie's choice to make, right? I either go with the movies or I go with television. But over here, it's a truckload of money, and I don't have to do anything anymore. Over here, though, That's a whole new Boondock world I can open up to the fan base and give them a lot more bang for their buck every season, right? And what helped me make the decision was one of the very first lessons I learned in the movie business, which is if you are lucky enough to have a fan base, you do what they want 100% of the time or you're fucked. And what my fan base wants are those two boys in peacoats killing bad guys. So I had to bottom line it like that. And after all that, I totally did the wrong thing. I should have done the fucking TV show.
Have you thought about making it recasting with two women?
Yes.
Calling it Boondock Angels.
Yes.
You know, would be better two
make
trans
it
men.
Super woke.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a female executive say to me when I was trying to make Boondock Saints into a television show, could they be sisters?
The Netflix Boondock Saints. Let's do it.
No.
Two Irish black lesbians.
Boondock Saints.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.